Well, hello there again, friends. Today is 6/5/2022, and today is the Odin Project Vlog Day 115. I hope you all had a great weekend. It's Sunday night here. I didn't get to do an upload yesterday because I ended up last minute made a decision to go out of town with the family to hang out with my sister and have a barbecue. Um, they live about an hour and a half away, so it made it a whole day event. So I didn't get anything done yesterday. However, I did get some work done on this UI last night or Friday night, excuse me, and then again today, a little bit today, polishing up some things. So we're going to go through that. I built out a lot more on the create to do JS module file, which is the create to do function module call for when you click the submit, and we'll go over that here in a moment. And also incorporating the Date-fns library that they ask you to install, which is a whole host of gives you a whole host of modules for date and time manipulation. As we covered a video or two ago in the requirements, they didn't really say how you're going to use it, just said this would be useful to use. So this is kind of how I used it. Again, it's subject to change and probably will add to it. But I have the terminal up here. It's really simple to install. I've already done it, so I won't do it again. But you simply just type in npm install date-nfs --save, and that literally just use npm to install the package, and then it installs it, and it works really great with Webpack and what's the other? I don't remember the. Let's see. If it says. Yarn. You can use npm or Yarn to install it, but the name eludes me right now as far as the other company or other product it uses to ingest with, but Webpack is one of them. You don't have to actually configure anything. You just after you run that and it installs, all you do is use it. So you would use it just like any other variable or package that you would create, any other module file, except it's its own module called date-fns, struggle bus. So anyway, here's the built out, and I'm not completely done with create to do. It's mostly done. It's like 99% there. So I'm going to go over the code, and then I will show you it in the browser. So on the index.js file, I added another click event, which is right here. And this is a click event to submit a new to-do form to the project. So that's just as we have here. We have an event listener on a button called submit button, which just calls the create to do Webpack module when it's ready to roll, and then that comes out here, and got some import functions. I think I had it clear form from the last video, but I didn't have this top one, so I imported 1, 2, 3, 4 modules from Date-fns. I keep saying NFS, sorry, FNS, and these are grayed out. Compare ASC and format because I'm not currently using them, but I put them in there as a kind of a to-do from my own mind. That they were popular ones in the documentation that I was reading on Date-fns, so probably will use them. I have added, that wasn't part of documentation, but through my research, is parse ISO and start of today. And as I get into the code and the logic, I'll show you why I use them and what they're used for. So I'm skipping this top part. This hasn't changed at all. So we're creating that array there. I still am not sure I'm going to use it yet. I haven't gotten to that point. Today's video is all about basically just buttoning up the UI, manipulating and massaging the data, and performing if checks to make sure that the form is filled out correctly. And then the next video, I kind of left the last video off with kind of describing different avenues I might go. So this avenue, I basically just learned FNS and how to use it a little bit, and finishing up the UI and clicking the submit, and it actually working. So I've got all that working, but it's not going anywhere. When you click the click the button, all this code runs, and your output is going to basically an array, but there's no DOM for it or anything, so there's nothing to show on the screen other than the DevTools console.logs. But so the next video after this, I'm going to go back and do some more research on building out the web storage logic on the back end. I call it back end, air quotes, but so that that's set up so when I do any array calls or anything, any pushes like that, it'll push out to that as well. Just like I said in the last video, I'm going to break this up into smaller chunks, and I want to do it right the first time instead of building out something and then going back and rebuilding it because I didn't incorporate the API at the very beginning. So that's what I'm going to do in the next video. So sorry for the tangent there, but so here we have the create to do export function here. And then here's all of the dot values. I won't go over these because these were in the this is the same concept as the library app project that I've done and have referenced several times. So basically, in a nutshell, we're calling title and calling it the element by ID that's in the HTML, and then dot value in the end pulls whatever is in the in that element and assigns it a variable. So basically that's what these four are doing for title, description, due date, and priority. And then we're going to run a check here. I run some checks at the top at the very beginning. The first check I run is to see if there's empty fields that exist, and we want to bark at them and make sure that they fill it in. So we're going to check here to see if anything's empty. So we are looking for a title, description, due date. If any three of them, because these are OR pipes, so if any three of them are blank, meaning they don't contain anything, we're going to alert at them and tell them that title, description, and due date are required fields. Please try again. And then we're going to do a soft return back out of create to do and wait for the next click. Same concept on the next if. So here we're going to, and I could probably do it if then else now that I look at this, but I did these on different days, to be honest. I did this part Friday night, and I did this just a little while ago. So it's its own if. May combine it, may not. But this if checks to see if a predate was entered. So like that just basically means if they successfully entered in or selected a date that was prior to today. And I'll showcase this to you in the browser at the end here. So we have an if statement that says parse ISO. This is part of the Date-fns logic. It's a method that parses the, in this case, the due date, parses it to a ISO format, basically string. And I did 2 console.logs showing how that looks like, what that looks like in the DevTools. So we'll do an example. I'll put an old data in there and show you what it looks like. So it'll be easier than explaining it in words. But basically, it parses the due date from year, month, day format to a text format, essentially. And then if that due date is less than start of today. So start of today is also a method inside of FNS that is imported, and it is also already parsed. So it is a parsed ISO that just says start of today. So that it's like for right now it's 6/5/2022. So it would say January 5th, 2022. And then start of day will be 00:00:00 for the time. So we're saying that if the due date they selected is less than the start date, which means it's old, it's in the past, we're going to alert on the screen, and we're going to say you have entered a date that has already passed. Please enter a date greater than or equal to today. And then we console out log just to see how it works, and then we soft return them back and wait for another click event. So here we're going to loop over the node list for checklist items from the DOM and format to string. So basically we're just doing some data manipulation and massaging here. So we're going to create a constant. We've done this in the DOM manip module, but we have it's the same logic here. We have node list checklist that takes on document.querySelectorAll.li. So we're going to create a node list of all the LIs, and we're going to create a checklist array that's blank, and this is a local variable. We're just going to use it within this module just for the purposes of data cleansing. And so we're going to run a for loop here, let I equals 0, and we're going to loop through the node checklist.length. We've already went over this in the last video or two about looping through node lists. So we're going to loop through each node, each HTML node of LI, and we're going to take the contents, and we're going to strip off the X at the end of each LI and then push it to that temp array that we called right here. And we do that by creating a variable, called stripped checklist equals the node checklist item. So we're looping through I of each index dot text content, which guys, we've done this 100 times. So the text content is the content inside of each node, and so that context in its purity will be the whatever is in there for the data that the user put in, and then there'll be an X at the very end because the X represents the X we put in the DOM for them to be able to remove it. Be able to click event to remove that if they put it in erroneously. So here is a replace function. So we do dot replace, and if you do in parentheses /u00d7, if that looks familiar, that's because that's the Unicode for that X. So we want to replace, which means that's why it's in quotes. So I'm going to replace the X, which this represents the X, with a blank space. So the replace method takes what you're wanting to replace, comma, and then what you're going to replace it with. So basically we're going to strip it, and we're going to put basically an empty character in there. And then after we do that, we're going to run the checklist array, which is the empty array we created here, dot push, and we're going to do strip checklist. So we're going to push the strip checklist value of each node as we loop through and push it into this checklist array. So it's going to fill up with all the text content with the X stripped out of it. So we get just what we need and nothing more. And then we have here a little comment for strip. We're going to strip off the checklist array and convert to string with commas. And that's all this is doing is checklist equals checklist array dot join. So this, if you remember, the join function adds an element to an array into a string separated by the separator string. So we're just stringifying it basically with the join function, and I'm putting in a comma and a space in here. So that basically just comma separates everything. I commented this in here. Normally I wouldn't comment one line of code, but I commented in as a reminder for myself that if down the road I want to convert that back to keep the checklist as an array instead of making it a string, I can do so. The only reason why I did it as a string to begin with is because you'll see in the output here when I show the browsers, everything else in the form is coming over as a string, so I just want to keep uniformity. And then these are just a bunch of console logs showing what's going on. We've been over this. This is the old code, the original code from create ToDo, so there's nothing new there. That's the same there. Again, I'm still not entirely sure I'm going to use this ToDo array. I may just, if I can work with the objects in themselves, I might just use that with the backend API, but we'll see when we get there. Not there yet in this video. Probably for next video. And I have right here, reset the form after successful submission. So this logic here calls the clear form, which is calling it from DOM manip. So I added a extra export module in DOM manip at the very bottom here called clear form. And oh yeah, we already been over this. This was in the last video. So basically I'm just calling it again. Just remember that. Save ourselves a couple minutes of explanation. So all it's doing is just calling that again. to clear the form after the successful submission. Because if you get to this point and you've got through the for loop, you passed the 2 if checks, you're good to go. You've already submitted it. It's already been pushed to the array. It's already been submitted as an object, so you can clear the form. And then here's a return statement. So this returns the information back out in case we need it globally. And that is it. So I don't think I missed anything. Sorry, all of a sudden just got a headache, so I don't know. I don't think I missed anything there. So that would be it. I didn't do anything with HTML this time, so that remained the same. So let's head on out here in the browser. So yeah, add a to-do. So we'll just brought up some information here. I haven't done anything with the project stuff. That's another to-do item down the road. I'm going to keep focusing on create to-do right now, which means that I am not doing anything with projects array or the status of a project. That'll be for a later video. I may even take this line out of the form. So right now, as you know, this is not included in the to-do, in the create to-do method, or function that we're calling. So I may end up moving this over into here, into the main display. We'll see. I'm not quite there yet, but so we have a title, description, due date, and priority. You have select your priority, and then your checklist items from before. So we'll just throw something in there. So there's that. So we got some information filled in here. You notice we got 6/4. So today's 6/5. So we're perfect. We're absolutely selecting a day before. Say we did this on error, or we just goofed up or whatever. So if we hit submit to do, we're going to hit that error check, and it's going to throw the error saying you have entered a date that has already passed. Please enter a date greater than or equal to today. So what it does is it spits out that node list as per our last video, and then here's the 2 new things. So here's the due date. So this is actually executing these 2 lines right here. So due date is the parse ISO of due date. So this is what it basically outputs. The parse ISO through FNS creates that. And then date now is start of today, which is already in ISO format, so we don't have to parse it. And that's also coming from FNS. So you see we've got the stringified version of this as Saturday, June 4th, 2022. And since we aren't inputting time, it's always going to be 00000, at least for now. And so the logic works. So since we tried entering in an old date, it said, nope, not going to let you do that. So we're going to clear the form, and we'll just do this again with today's. So 6/5/2022. Add an item and submit, and it went in. So there it is, submitted as an object. 4/4/6/5/2022, priority low, title 4. And it pushed it into that array that, again, I'm not sure I'm going to use, but I just left it there for now from very first video I did, or second video, going over that. So there's that. You see here I have a placeholder called required field for both title and description. Due date does have, actually I did have HTML. Now I remember this. I put in the placeholders for required. So we have required field, and I put in required on those. You don't see them in the browser on due date because I think just because it's a date picker, but it will trigger a a failure on the other if. So the other if we're going to go over now is, so we're going to see if there's anything blank. So even though it's not blank, it says month, day, year here. We're just going to leave that blank and see what happens. And you don't have to put anything in check items. Just you can if you want. That's why it says if any. But if I hit submit to do, it says title, description, and due date are required. Please try again. So there's that. So if I put that date in there, a future date, and we don't need, just prove to you here, we don't need anything in checklist items. We don't want them. We hit submit to do, and it goes through. So there's the project 4. Checklist is empty. It's an empty string. Due date 6/7. Priority low. Title 4. and it pushed it to the array. So now we have 2 items in the array since we hadn't refreshed the screen yet. So we have object 0 and or index 0 and index 1. Again, not sure I'm going to keep that, but that's just there for now. And that's talking about the add days. I was just looking at to see if that had the thing I was trying to think of earlier about Date-fns, but so that's basically it. This video, obviously, they all do. They go longer than I wanted them to, but anyway, that's pretty much it. So in the next video, I'm going to probably switch gears to the back end. I have not tried to set up. I've got to read some documentation on the web API storage. Figure out how to set that up, and then start creating, sending the array back to that as well, and then I'll probably start doing some DOM manipulation on the front here as well. So I think that'll probably be in the next video. I'm kind of thinking. Again, it's subject to change, but I'm trying to take this in smaller chunks because it's a big project. So thanks for coming along the ride with me today and learning a little bit. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content, and let me know in the comment section what you guys think and how you're coming along with the project. So with all that said, till next time, see ya.